And if Virginia can get extra possessions, they're too talented offensively. So the X today, critically important for the Spiders.
And Petey Lasalla, right on cue, wins the opening draw and flips it back to his goalie, Matt Nunes. For Lasalla, that is his 1,004th career face-off win. And he's taken almost 1,700 in his career, more than anyone in the history of the sport. But Virginia turns it over on their first possession as Nunes gave it up. It was picked off by Tommy Stoll, one of the best pulls for Richmond, and they will set up the offense. Aiden O'Neill, 5 in Navy.
He knows how to show up in the big moments.
He's a throwback type player, a true two-way midi for UVA. And a violation on the faceoff against Richmond, and it'll be Virginia ball. Jared Chenoy, 23 in blue, takes the faceoffs for the Spiders. Here is Schellenberger.
To know that he could get the goalie guessing by changing planes.
He moves past Doug Knight in 1996 for most goals in a season in the illustrious history of Virginia, 7-time national champions. Now we get our first look at junior from Ardmore, Pennsylvania, is back in a big way with his 27th of the season and their first of the tournament. Look at Jared Chenoy getting physical with Petey Lasalla, out of bounds off of Richmond. Good pressure from Scott Bauer, the senior out of Dallas. And now Virginia will clear. You've got 20 seconds to get it across the mid.
It's been good to see them back.
Yeah, Coach Lars Tiffany and company, they have reestablished the standard, as he said. And when we're talking about this matchup with an opponent they know quite well, he said, you know, to be honest, sometimes the standard and the expectation and the legacy of Virginia lacrosse can be the most daunting thing they face, and they've helped to raise that standard back to where guys like you said it. Again, physical on the draw. That'll be Richmond ball as it went out off the calves. You can tell he works on the craft of shooting. As a grad student, all his classes are at night, so he shoots during the day. As Virginia a little careless there after winning the faceoff, but it doesn't bite them. The loping Cade Sawstad, 6'5". Matt, I think that's the only time the words slow and Zinn will be in the same sentence. He's so fast. Lasalla wins another faceoff for UVA. They dominated at the faceoff dot in that regular.
Getting his 4th of the season.
Bauer tracks down the ground ball for Virginia. Now 7-1 the edge at the faceoff X for UVA. Yeah, Lars Tiffany says they don't even really run lines for midfield. I feel like Petey Lasalla loves getting sloppy in the mud. This is his kind of game. Lasalla and Jared Chenoy for the faceoff as the second quarter is underway. The ball just stopped. It died. It's like we're playing golf in Caddyshack right now. And I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while. Lasalla trudging through the mud, flips it back for the grad transfer from Hobart, native of East Syracuse, New York, has 2 goals tonight. Lasalla and Chenoy. The ball spits out a lot like the rain, taken away by Jake Kapp. Senior out of Pepper Pike, Ohio, 41, brings it across. If the championship weekend you played in made this look like a dry field.
From right here in Charlottesville, just was announced as one of the 5 finalists for the Twerton Award. For the 2nd year in a row, the MVP of the 2021 NCAA tournament.
Violation against Virginia on the faceoff gives it back to Richmond. And the thing with Schellenberger that Lars Tiffany told us, and he's been saying for a while, is if anything, they want him to be more selfish. Tournament after Dalton Young's first goal for the Spiders. Tomorrow's Sunday night baseball matchup is the series finale between the Cardinals and Red Sox at Fenway Park. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN Deportes and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown. Those 2 teams have played more World Series games than interleague games since 1946. Drew Carter back alongside Matt Ward as we go back to Dalton Young's last goal. What do you see here, Matt?
You get to see that the traction for UVA and Richmond, very challenging. And to me, it makes it harder for the athleticism to shine. Dalton Young, obviously one of the best athletes, probably the best athlete on Richmond's team. But I think it's really neutralized UVA and one of the big advantages they've had.
Chenoy wins the faceoff. On a hurry, feeds Young. That's blocked by Sawstad. 6'5", 215 out of Dallas. And a fight for the loose ball. It'll belong to Virginia.
The perfect placement to the high far post.
Highway to the danger zone plays here at Klockner. I'm sure our friend Caroline Darney is delighted by that. Biggest Top Gun fan I've ever met. Cormier, the 6th different Cavalier to score today. Noah Chismar comes out of the pile with it. Right to the hole and stuffs it. A juice goal from Noah Chismar. Right off the faceoff.
An interesting play here at the faceoff. Petey Lasalla for Virginia wins the clamp, and he goes to clear it back. Look how the ball stops. Usually that releases back to the wing player, so it creates more of a scrum. And then Chismar, who came to UVA as a recruited walk-on, was an attackman, now a star defensive mid. He's showing his offensive prowess, taking it to the heart of the Richmond defense. And gets Virginia its 8th goal of the afternoon.
Back-to-back goals in 15 seconds. Now 7 different goal scorers for Virginia as Lasalla goes hurdle mode over Chenoy. Ball is still loose on the drenched field here at Klockner, and it's picked up by the freshman Pilling for Richmond.
And your
messages to his former high school teammates, and he's clearly taken some of that wisdom from his high school coach and coaches throughout his playing career and turn this Richmond program into a force. But they trail by 5 with 4 minutes to play in this first half as Petey Lasalla wins another faceoff for UVA. 10-5 the advantage at the faceoff X.
Two years ago, the #1 recruit in the country coming out of high school.
Virginia tends to have the #1 recruit coming out of high school. Slip and slide, and that'll draw a flag against Noah Chismar of UVA. Tommy Stoll was trying to discard him, and Richmond will start.
7 goals on the season. Last year at Vermont, he led the country in goals. He knows how to do one thing, and to put in the back of the net.
That's 2 assists today for Schellenberger, 45.
First goal in over 14 minutes.
Loose ball. It is slippery. And picked up by Mitchell Whalen. The Atlanta area native gets it to Sawstad. And Kastner.
He has this Virginia program back at the heights of college lacrosse, but he does so much more than coach on the field. He is a life coach for these young men, making sure they think more than just about themselves and the impact they can have off the lacrosse field.
One of the best in the world. He's coming off an injury to start the season, so you've got a pretty good insurance policy, Petey Lasalla. Here's Truett Sunderland. Mentioned the recruiting Coach Tiffany has done here at UVA. He was the #2 recruit in this year's freshman class, according to Inside Lacrosse, behind only Joey Spallina at Syracuse. Griffin Schutz, a former #1 recruit in his own right, 26 and white.
But this is where we have Virginia keeping Zanderberger to Peyton Cormier for his hat trick.
Still slipping and sliding after all the rain in the first half. Ball squirts out to Joe Gooley, one of the captains for Richmond. trailing by 7.
On the low corner versus Connor Schellenberger.
Another face-off win for Petey Lasalla. He's over 1,000 for his career. Top 10 all-time. Second among active players. Only
2 leading scorers in the country are on that offensive unit. They are
beat Georgetown last year, too.
Beat Georgetown, right? Last year, one of the all-time upsets in college lacrosse. So I just look at those matchups. I think they're all going to be good. Look out for Michigan. I mean, Michigan playing Cornell, I mean, they played incredible lacrosse through the Big Ten championship, knocking out Penn State and then taking it to Maryland. They do all the things well. They face off well. They've got a lot of talent on offense. Defensively, they're solid.
Michigan has 3 players with 20 goals and 20 assists. I mean, that attack line is...
somehow finds patience in the middle of the storm.
There are times where Peyton Cormier looks like a camp counselor playing against 5th graders.
Look, he's going to lead Virginia, in my opinion, as the all-time leading scorer when it's all said and done. And he doesn't really get a ton of credit on the national backman. If you really watch him play close to the goal line, most of the teams that win national championship have that big athlete that can just rip one down the side that I think Virginia is going to need to prove they can do as the competition escalates.
You think about the other teams in the ACC, too. Duke's got Garrett Ledman, who's a PLL draft pick. He's 6'5", 230, looks like Thor. Cormier has scored the last 5 for UVA. He is 1 off his season high, which is 7 against Ohio State. A 17-6 win for UVA against the Buckeyes, playing that game in Florida.
Pass across the crease to Truett Sunderland. Virginia now subbing in at the attack and defensive ends of the field.
Lasalla got his stick held by Chenoy. It trickles into the Richmond restraining box, and it'll be Spider's ball after the push. Mentioned Mikey Powell on the finalizer move. Playing on a wet surface in the NCAA tournament, something Mikey Powell was pretty good at. Go back to 04, again at M&T. Mikey Powell and Syracuse beating Navy 14-13. Shout out to our guy Griffin Smith.